on today's After News, big plans for a new AEW character.
Huge spoiler on a major name returning to TNA.
An ex-WWE legend is quietly working for AEW.
And a WWE icon teases another NXT-TNA crossover.
Ooh, I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the After News. So let's talk all things hologram. Fantastic debut on AEW Collision over the weekend, facing the equally brilliant and fantastic base for him, as I might get into, Gringo Loco. Well, AEW have got big plans for him. Obviously, they've hyped up the arrival of Hologram. It's not Ricochet, just to clarify. Yeah. It's a brilliant Mexican wrestler who, AEW have got a lot clearly invested in, because apparently, according to this report from Fightful Select, there are more elements, including the technologically ambitious ones, for Hologram going forward. Like I say, he just debuted me on AEW Collision over the weekend. Got a load of praise for it, as well as Gringo Loco, who also who isn't signed to AEW, who served as a brilliant base for him. They've worked dozens of times over the years. You could sort of tell that with the way that they just flowed really well in that match. But I love the look of Hologram. His entrance is amazing. And I know they've got a lot of high-flying flippy dudes who do stuff that makes you go, well, how's that possible? But I'll always take one more, and I'm excited that AEW want to do stuff, especially, what was it? Technologically ambitious one thing.
Yeah, like, this is all what you want to hear for a new wrestler, isn't it? Like, it's technologically ambitious, big plans, all these sort of things. Like, let's look at a very, very, very salient example of what happens when you have big plans for somebody and actually play them out and pay them off in Mariah May.
Yeah.
She's going into one of the biggest matches at Wembley, and that character arrived with one goal, one singular goal, last October, and it was to sidle up to Toni Storm in something we always knew was going to happen, which was a feud between the two of them. We weren't sure exactly how it was going to play out, but that character had a singular goal and a singular focus, not to wrestle for 6 weeks on Rampage, Dynamite and Collision and then lose to the champion at pay-per-view, but in fact to play this much longer game. And you hear murmurings like this and you see a presentation like Hologram, and look, I appreciate that, like, certain vignettes may not make for everyone. Technologically ambitious may sort of have a certain WWE flavour to it that people might not like. You know, there's, like, AEW is typically not without exceptions, but typically not experimented with supernatural or things that are not of this world. I'm thinking currently in my head of, like, Axiom's entrance in NXT.
Exactly what I was thinking of.
And how he moved faster than the speed of space and time.
What's that going on?
And everybody's just like, yeah, totally normal, that's fine, that's just what he does. That's not very AEW coded, but that's not to say you can't bend the rules a little bit, or if not break them, if you think the character isn't worth it. I like the idea that this is not just a wrestler coming in to wrestle 4 or 5 matches, get a spot, and then slot in. If they are dreaming bigger, good.
And then they need to do stuff to make Hologram stand out outside of the amazing moves that he can do, because on the same show you had someone like Rey Fenix, they've got Commander, El Hijo del Vikingo, who's wrestled for them in the past. Like,
how do you value pro wrestling versus other pro wrestling without things to make it stand out? Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do with him, and if you haven't seen it yet, do go and check out the Hologram versus Gringo Loco match from the weekend. It's really good. Me and Sidge will be reviewing it on the AEW Collision Review podcast a little bit later on today.
Right, we've got a spoiler, a big, fat TNA spoiler.
Timestamps in the description.
Click along to the next video if you don't want to know. We're going to give you this as an opportunity to break klaxons, all that sort of stuff, because TNA taped television for the post-Slammiversary block of shows earlier this week, and there was a huge return, and I'm going to say his name in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt Cardona is...
That's for you if you forgot to skip.
...is back on screen in TNA. He was... obviously sort of involved heavily with Steph Delander, the sort of golden couple of hardcore wrestling in their own minds through GCW and all that. They've got like a fantastic on-screen bond, and he did make appearance to interrupt the wedding of Steph Delander and PCO. He, of course, has been out injured recently. He was
tried low blowing several women, I seem to remember as well.
He has absolutely had a give no F's attitude since leaving WWE in all the better forums.
Certainly with our interview with him, which is worth checking out.
Oh, that's still online. Go and check.
He gave plenty of F's, actually.
See how many he can slot into a short interview with Simon Miller from WrestleMania.
Simon Miller as well. If it was me, that's fair enough. But
F off, what culture? You're not the first to say that.
I'm pecking up my style. He's great.
He was great. He's been out with a torn pec, obviously, and he was set to return to TNA a little while ago before the injury because of his previous that he had there. He's got there's multiple characters he interacted with in the past, not just Steph Delander. Brian Myers is still there as part of the system. They've got history forever and ever and ever. And Matt Cardona has just been such a fun presence to have. It'll be great to see back on TNA TV again. We talk about this all the time now. This is a TNA product not without momentum. You come off a Slammiversary where they were celebrating a 4,000 sellout in Montreal.
Look at all the people in that World Title match. They all could have left with the championship.
Yeah, this was it. They're riding the wave of their own popularity as well as the likes of a Joe Hendry and a Jordan Grace and all these names.
Mike Bailey, Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, he's Mike Bailey. Of course, defeated Mustafa Ali. They brought back Earl Hebner for
the screw job. I saw that
Montreal moment as well. So there does feel like a bit of momentum. And Cardona is very, very shrewd and very smart and knows when to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, first and foremost, great to have him back in a wrestling ring. He's very entertaining on social media, but this is where he does his best work, obviously. And Mr. Chelsea Green could potentially make that jump over to WWE. Now that door's been flung wide open.
Yeah.
Or he could reignite a feud with the hottest guy in pro wrestling right now, and we can see Joe Hendry versus Edge's bitch too. His words, not mine, Matt.
Look it. There's a free hit right there.
It's yet another excellent Joe Hendry song. Did you see the Elijah one from North?
I did.
Brilliant work from all involved.
Full show's dropping next week, is it? Go and check North out. They're based up here. They're a good bunch of lads.
Right, let's talk about a ex-WWE legend. He's ex-WWE, he's not an ex-legend. An ex-WWE legend who's quietly working for AEW. I'm talking about Tony Chimmel. He of the Rated R Superstar, of course. And he was on the brilliant Behind the Turnbuckle podcast. It's one of the best podcasts out there, that's not ours. It's hosted by Tony, Who's Tony? Tony was on it. Tony Chimmel was on it. It's hosted by the Jonathan Coachman, friend of the channel.
Oh, Tony 2, as we call him. Very much secondary to Tony Chimmel. Yeah.
We call him Tony because we're mates. Jonathan Coachman and Tommy Carlucci, really good chat.
I'm Tony Coach.
He talks about working with Edge, John Cena, etc., on there, as well as talking about his now full-time job at Trader Joe's and what he does for AEW. I'll read the quote here. My main job now is I work at Trader Joe's grocery store. I love that place. I love working there. I also work for AEW a couple of times per month. I love working there as well. This still keeps me a little bit on the wrestling scene, a little bit on the road and stuff like that. I don't travel the way I used to, which I'm very happy about because I don't want to. I love both gigs now that I am doing. Lovely stuff, this. It's like I said to you before, it is weird when wrestling people get other jobs. We talked obviously in the office about not only Tony Chimmel, but
Tony Schiavone.
Thank you.
Tony 2.
Tony 2.
Tony 3, funny then.
Tony Schiavone working at Starbucks.
It's a latte! Yeah.
Back in the day. But it's nice to hear that he's enjoying himself and it makes sense that AEW, if they're going to make use of an ex-WWE announcer, someone like Tony Chimmel, who's got so many years in the business, it just makes sense to get him on board, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I like the fact he's like, I'm not travelling anywhere, but if you want me to do stuff around here, I'll do it.
I don't fancy that life anymore. Yeah, I went to 2 separate Trader Joe's in Philadelphia.
Did you? I don't think I've ever been.
I would have popped daft if I'd have bumped into Tony.
How weird would that be?
It'd be amazing. I went looking. I'll tell you one of the reasons why I went to Trader Joe's, because I wanted to find those very specific white and green cans that CM Punk was drinking in the Brawl Out press conference. There's some sort of posh fizzy water. Very nice it was too. Yeah, they make really nice stuff. It's like unbelievably fresh fruit and veg piled like cartoonishly high. The kind you could knock over and oh god, I've sent the oranges flying.
Oh, I think I remember when we were in New York.
Paper or plastic, they bag your groceries.
Miller went there or like Walgreens or something. We're all like, we're off for breakfast at Dunkin' Donuts and we're going to eat so much we don't have to eat until tea time now.
And he's buying very specific ingredients. But interesting this. Tony Chimmel doing a couple of things on the side. I'd like to know more about this. If he ends up on the podcast circuit, and indeed you're very welcome on ours, Tony Chimmel, I'd love to drill down into what exactly he's contributing. We hear this little mentions of certain names that offer certain things, and look, everyone that's got history in the industry can offer certain little pearls of wisdom. I'm sure Tony Chimmel is no different, but I'd love to know what he was doing specifically. I'd love to know what kind of production or bits in the background. There's lots of clips that do the rounds of on live shows. You'd see Chimmel as part of the breakdown crew with the ring as well. That man put the graft in WWE, so he knows it. It's that sort of old football idiom, isn't it? Knows the club inside and out. Knows the wrestling industry inside and out. Though,
I just hope AEW doesn't book any women's gravy bowl. If you haven't seen the
Wild Line.
The Wild Line. I always remember seeing it at the end of a Botchamania. Shout out to Matthew.
Yeah.
I can't find it. If anyone can find it, send it to me. Tony Chimmel doing the Wild Line, re-recording the announcement for the women's gravy bowl, and JR and King are dying.
Oh,
no, Cole.
It's Cole, yeah.
And JR says, for the love of God.
Tony Trimble doesn't really like to travel much now, which is probably only why he does a couple of shifts for AEW. But maybe he could travel on over to whatculture.com/tickets.
That's at your fingertips, that.
It really is. He can do that from his own home. What he can't do is attend the What Culture live show before All In. You have to get on the plane and do some work with AEW while you're there.
Come on over, Tony.
We'll be right next to Wembley. It's a perfect location for you to bring your laptop if you want. We're going to say it right now. Tony Trimmel's going to be live at the one. No, he's not going to be. But we are.
I'll say superstar.
We're going to be live 5 minutes away from Wembley, 12 p.m. Day of All In, the perfect place to go. Don't worry about getting to the show, rushing on the tube at those busy hours. Get there a little bit before. Come and see us. We're going to be doing 12 till 1:30. Tickets available at whatculture.com/tickets. There's going to be a long meet and greet afterwards.
Yeah.
We're all going to go over to Wembley in convoy because it's basically just across the road anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great time.
Like a Pied Piper leading fans to Wembo.
Indeed. Simon Miller's going to be there. We're all going to go up, down, up, down. How are you going to do that? With your foam fingers that you can buy. You can get T-shirts with our faces. All available.
Yeah, if you get the foam fingers, you don't want to get one with Miller's face on. Get, my face or something, probably.
Yeah, we're opening the Forbidden Door because Stax has got his own T-shirt. It's like being part of NXT. We'll have to make sure the commission goes definitely to Stax. It'd be awful if that went to the wrong person. But yeah, whatculture.com/tickets, 12 till 1:30. It's going to be a fantastic live show. Plus the meet and greet afterwards. Then the walk straight over to Wembley for All In. And then probably the night ends when the show ends. What?
It ain't over yet.
What?
Get yourself over to Sweet Chin Disco because inexplicably they've allowed me to host their brilliant club night that they're going to be having after that. Don't come for that. Come for their brilliant club night, but also come for appearances from Prince Nana and Mike.
Tony too.
Prince Nana and Max Caster. I've left my mouth at home today, clearly. I apologise.
He's going to be like this when we get there to Switch and Disco as well. He's going to be
Please welcome Mike Caster.
You get this in real life. It's very good value. Very, very good.
Oh, no, it turns out they've cancelled my duties. Now, the thing is, I can't introduce the two people on the card, but do join us for that. Just search Switch and Disco. It's first link. It's going to be a great night.
Shall we talk about the WWE Icon teasing a NXT-TNA crossover?
Okay.
It's Mike Hardy. But it is Matt Hardy, so the news isn't much better.
Okay.
Speaking with the wonderful Bill Apter on Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge, the Hardys were, of course, pressed for comment over the WWE TNA relationship on account of the fact that they are currently based in TNA.
Of course.
We've seen Matt Hardy make his recent return and Jeff Hardy possibly make a recent exit with that chair at the post. But the two of them there are all the same. And Matt Hardy, Bill Apter asked Matt Hardy, and Matt said, quote, "In wrestling, never say never," of course. I will say that the NXT tag team titles are not on our list of titles that we've won. So we are interested in that. I think the crossover between NXT and TNA is great. It's exciting, it's unpredictable, and it's a positive for the business and the industry. Jeff was in the interview as well. He added, "I'm a fan of First Time Evers, and us in NXT, just the vision of that is very exciting to me. When Matt first showed up in TNA, my wife called me in the bathroom and said, 'Do you know Matt was in TNA?' No, I had no idea.
Definitely, yeah, no clue.
To myself, there's no way we're going back to TNA. But then I thought about it and was like, oh my God, wait a minute. We created loads of cool moments in TNA.
They did to me that.
And then it was last notice. We had the conversation and I agreed to go back. It just feels right. Especially with the Joe Hendry deal, NXT. All that stuff is so exciting. I think it happened for a reason, man."
My sources tell me they're going to bring him in for Halloween Havoc so he can say, "Check it out, man, I'm a spooky ghost." I'm cautious on this one because I wasn't a huge fan of the Hardys' latter run in AEW. But I do feel like if they're going to work on WWE TV again, NXT, the weird and wacky place that it is, actually could be really good for them.
The Broken Hardys, maybe, both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I personally, I'd rather see the likes of the Rascals more on NXT TV. I fell in love with Trey Miguel, seeing them on NXT recently. But
quite nice, wasn't it? Just
obviously, Axiom and Nathan Fraser, the tag champs at the moment. You've got people queuing up to take them off them. But it could be fun. Why not? Bollocks, let's have it.
Matt Hardy calling a certain group that we love the University of Chase, or something like that. Are you back on board?
I'm into it, man.
Hey,
it's anything NXT related.
Wait a minute. Stacks can mean money.
You guys know they committed murder on television, right? That's illegal, guys.
Just Jeff Hardy going around and pointing out all the continuity holes in NXT. Shut up.
Stop
It's the first universe where he's actually managed to make sense of it.
Wait a second. You're The Rock's daughter.
You haven't got a son. That would just be like me being called jail.
What are you, Seal? No, I'm Ava. Cher? No, still Ava.
Hey, there's so many cooks here. You need to borrow some of my tin foil. I brought my skate ramp.
Well, let us know your thoughts on that and everything we discussed in the comments section below. Like, share, subscribe. And you're thinking, this is a bit late for a news. That's because it's the after news, guys. Check out the morning news right here. Bye.